I was originally interested in theater sort of familially. My dad was a stagehand on Broadway for years and years. Um, so it was always kind of around the house, but I wasn't super interested in it until I went to high school, and one of my friends she pulled me into it.
What sparked my interest in theater is that my dad took me to New York when I was a little girl, and we saw All Shook Up on Broadway, which was so cool. I absolutely loved seeing every single part of the show, like the sets and the people and the costumes and the music. Like, it was all just so interesting.
I don't really remember exactly when I began. A little bit before second grade, I do believe, is when I did my very first play. I don't remember exactly how. I guess my parents just kind of put me in there. I was pretty young. It was the play Hansel and Gretel. And I do remember around second grade is when I joined the Talisman Players, and I've been in every single play ever since.
A specific moment that sparked my interest in theater would be when I saw my first Broadway show. It was Bring It On the Musical. I was a cheerleader for a while, and seeing like theater and then cheerleading like all together was just a really cool moment for me. So a little bit about me, I'm Corinne Colderbank. I am a senior communication studies major here at Kutztown. I have 5 minors in professional writing, public relations, performance and storytelling, social media strategy, and theory. ACT is Actors Creating Theater. They are a student-run theater club on campus. I am the president. This is my second year as president. I was public relations officer 2 years ago, and then I was a general member my freshman year. I think the things that go unnoticed are definitely all the hard work that the directors put in and the stage crew. As someone who is both a director and on stage crew, a lot of times they just focus like on what the actors do, which is hard, but what everyone else is doing is just as hard. So I think it's really important to like acknowledge the stage crew and the directors and the stage managers. Like, they put in just as much hard work, maybe sometimes even more than like the people on stage. It's hard to be a student and then like involved with our shows, because our shows are very time consuming. We have rehearsals like 3 hours a night, and then when we get back from winter break, we have like sometimes 12-hour rehearsals. So that's hard. And then jumping back and forth between being president and then a cast member is also very difficult. I deal with the stress and like realize that all of this is worth it because of how I feel at the end product. I love being able to say like I'm proud of something I've done, and I think I can say about every ACT production I've been a part of, I've been proud of it.
So my name is Brandy. I was born and raised in New York City, actually. So I'm a Pennsylvania transplant, and I work now as the stage manager, production manager for the Kutztown Community Theater at the Talisman Players. I think behind the scenes is actually an interesting, different perspective on theater, because you actually almost never get to see the end product, which is probably the most interesting part, because you work so hard for months and months and months, especially as a stage manager. You're super involved in every aspect of it. You write down all the blocking, all the stage movements, all of the musical things, probably as well as all of the actors do. And you never get to watch it all come together, which I always find really interesting and sort of sad, because I want to see how it comes out at the end. Oh, Those Who Fell. So I wrote a show last year, actually accidentally for a directing course. We took this class with Talisman. There were about maybe 8 or 10 of us, and 2 of us were chosen to put on a 1-act. And you guys don't know me well, but I'm very, very choosy. Like, I'm very particular, and I'm not sorry about it. But I could not find a 1-act for the life of me. I was like, what am I going to do? So I had done this really, really short vignette. It was 10 lines of dialogue that I had to put to a scene. This was in the directing class. And I had Christine Storch was the mother, and then I had a young boy, Porter Holt, he played the boy. And I broke the scene up into 3 pieces. So I had 3 bits of dialogue, 3, and then 4 at the very end. And it was this mother who watched her son decide to join the military, go away, and then he actually died at the end. She was at his funeral at the very end. So like I said, it was only 10 lines of dialogue. And I sort of played off of that. I was like, maybe this is something that I need to get out of me because it really inspired something in me, even though it was so short. And so I approached Porter and I was like, I'll only write this if you'll agree to do it for me. And he was like, absolutely. So February, I decided I'm going to write a show. And then by May 17th, we were opening the curtain on Those Who Fell. What did I feel when Those Who Fell finally went up? Everything. I'm not sure that I've ever felt so much. So like I said, I'm a New Yorker. So first and foremost, writing this for me was really, really cathartic. Being able to put down all of probably what my feelings about 9/11 were on paper, and then having these people that I loved and I have known now, like I said, have been my family for years, sort of bring it all together. It was emotional and it was overwhelming, but it was also this sense of you were not a writer 6 months ago, and now here you are putting up this show at a university. It was incredible. So it was also really confidence building, and it was transformative. If I had to choose one word, the word would be transformative.
Which part of the theater process have I been a part of the most? That is a really difficult question because, when you're running a community theater company, you're sort of involved in all the processes. There is not an endless supply of people sort of helping you. I mean, there is, but they're all in it. So I feel like the producing of an actual show is probably where I spend the majority of the time. And that actually, for a community theater director, encompasses directing as well. You're sort of in charge of everything. You're a one-man show.
Yes, I do enjoy the producing side. It does get a little crazy at times, and you feel like you're running around like a chicken with their head cut off. But yeah, I do like it.
My name is Alex Crispo. I am the director of Mamma Mia. My favorite part of the rehearsal process is watching everyone learn the dances, learn the music, learn the blocking, and just watching the show come to life.
I think that saying people on the tech side of theater get less credit is sort of fair. But I think that it just is kind of part of the job, because when you're sitting out in that audience, you're looking at this production that's going on, and hopefully the director has done their job and the actors are doing their job, that you're so immersed in what you're seeing that you can almost barely separate yourself from the action on the stage. So I think that just by nature, the people who are back there changing the scenery and opening the curtain kind of get lost a little bit.
Can I describe Tech Week? That's Tech Week.
Tech Week is called Hell Week for a reason.
Tech Week is hell.
Tech Week is rough. Tech Week is a lot, but it's one of the most rewarding weeks that you can experience during a show.
I know a lot of people may think that Tech Week is quite stressful, but for me, it's actually one of my favorite weeks of theater. It has always really embraced me into the whole play and wrapped it all self together.
It's actually the most enjoyable week for me. I think it's so high stakes, and everyone is so stressed because you're rehearsing and you're having fun and you're putting all your stuff into it, and then all of a sudden, I always tell my actors this. Next week is Tech. This is the speech they get. Next week is Tech Week. You lose me in Tech Week. You don't have me anymore, correcting you, telling you what to do, because I have to focus on lights and sound and furniture moving and stage crew happening, and so you lose me, and they sort of do, and then it starts all coming together.
As an actor, I really liked Tech Week. I was desperate for it to come. I was desperate for those preview audiences to kind of give me a laugh, tell me what exactly I was doing. Did I have to change this, But as a techie, it's the worst, especially as a stage manager, because at that point, that entire production is yours now. The director gives it to you and is like, well, if something goes bad, it's your fault and you better figure out how to fix it. So it's scary and it's a lot and it's intense, but it's also some of the most rewarding times because you get to spend that time with these people who have become your family over these months of rehearsals. And you you get to really, really go down in the trenches with each other, which is probably one of my favorite parts of theater.
It's very rough, exhausting.
Okay, so honestly, I love Tech Week, even though it's like super duper high stress.
I mean, not only do you have your everyday things going on, like school or classes or work, but then you go and you have like 9-hour rehearsals on top of that.
Like, we have this one day called Q to Q, and it's basically just light cues for like 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday.
That just gets crazy, and everyone kind of gets on each other's nerves.
Like, everyone's running around, like, sometimes we'll have costumes on, and some people will be running around with like just like their top like half like done. Like, I was running around last year with like a wig on and like sweatpants, and like it was just totally chaos.
But you come closer together at the same time.
But it's super fun. I think that's when everyone bonds, and that's when everyone's true colors come out.
So, I don't know. It's hell, but it's awesome.
You know, you're standing there, so you just have to make the best out of the situation. So like, it's kind of just all of us just going crazy. Like, we just have so much fun.
What is one big lesson I have learned from all my experiences in theater? That's a big question. I think the best answer I can give is human connection. I think that this world has too little of it, and that theater exposes all of it. The good, the bad, the ugly, the great. And being able to really see somebody, you know, in their darkest moments, in their greatest moments. Theater has all that. You know, you start and you sort of climb up this mountain and you reach the top, and you get to see people go through that. As a director, as an actor, if you're really looking, you know, you see people's human spirit. So I think that's the life lesson that I've learned, and that's why I could not live without theater.
Okay, rolling. Audio.
Take one, scene one.
My name is Christine Nardone Storch. I was born in New York City and lived there for most of my life. I moved to the Kutztown area about 6 years ago, and I have 2 children, ages 8 and 10, a husband named RC, who's also in theater. He builds all of my sets for the Talisman Players, and theater has always been a huge part of my life. Can I tell you about my experiences on Broadway or in community theater that stick out to me? There are so many experiences that stick out to me. I think my most exciting one was I was 18 years old and I had just started college, and I decided to go on an open call for The Lion King. It was a new musical. Now it's been out forever, but they were opening it, and it was a workshop for The Lion King. And I waited online outside for hours because, I didn't even have my equity card. I was such a baby. And I just wanted to try it and go. And all my friends sort of were going, and we all got online, and we got a ticket to get in, because we got there really early. And we went in, and it was this great workshop where all these amazing singers, older, you could tell they were like seasoned. And I wound up getting picked to sort of do, I don't know if you know, like the, that thing. So I wound up getting picked to do this sort of like echo thing by myself as, I guess, part of the audition. And from that, I got hired actually for the workshop. And I was a baby. I was so little, and I was so excited and dumb. I was really dumb at that point. But it just shows me that like anything can happen, and that's what's beautiful about Broadway. Anything can happen anytime, and it's always unpredictable in a good way and in a bad way. So what would I say the notable differences are between community theater and Broadway? Oh, there are so many differences.
I'm not sure if I can see myself going on Broadway or like directing, but I do want to do like social media stuff for Broadway. I think that would be super cool.
I would go out on the line and say that Broadway is a business. It's a business. And this is my own opinion about it. I think that you could lose your heart in Broadway. I think you could forget the art on Broadway. Not in all aspects of it. I think there are some really beautiful pieces that you really connect with. But I think nowadays, I think it has become a very well-run machine that charges way too much money for people to see you. And I'm not sure what they're looking for anymore. In community theater, I feel like you find your artists, which is a really strange thing to say because most people be like, well, you're on Broadway, you're an artist, and you are. But I feel like the connections, the talent, the love of theater, the real grime of theater, which is what it is in community theater and in semi-professional theater. People that are really choosing the work because they have to. It's in them. So what were my views on theater before I went into it professionally, as opposed to what I have now, right? I think it goes off of the other question as well. I always love theater. I think theater is my safe place. I think it's my place for fun and community. When I went into it professionally, I wasn't shocked by how sometimes cold the world can be. I wasn't shocked because it is what it is. But I was shocked by sometimes how human beings are treated like, almost like things. Like next, or, being very blatant about too fat, too short, too ugly, too, and saying it out loud. And actually looking at people like they are the art, but like saying it out loud, critiquing that art. That was really difficult. My views changed a little. Like if you're not strong about yourself, you could be crushed very quickly. But on the other side of that, you meet glorious people. You have wonderful opportunities to perform in humongous spaces with lots of people applauding you, and that always feels good. I think my views ultimately haven't changed that much. Theater is for people who need it and want it, and it's there. You just have to find where you fit in. There's all aspects of theater: film, TV, Broadway, community. Pick one. Do it. Just do it, people.
Well, I think in 17 years there have been a lot of defining moments for me that really kept me in, but actually I think one that happened most recently was with Vivian Setliff. So I played Titania to her Puck in Midsummer Night's Dream. So if anyone doesn't know the story, Oberon and Titania are almost Puck's parents, not quite, but a little bit. And I really watched her go from a scared 11-year-old in the auditions who had absolutely no confidence in what she was doing. She didn't feel like she deserved this role. She didn't think that she could do it, to this incredible, almost borderline semi-adult at 12 by the time the show actually went on. She was a completely different child. And that was not only on stage, but it was outside. She felt confident, she believed in herself, and those are the kinds of things that theater and the arts in general really give you.
Well, I spend a lot of time in theater, and I play piano. I enjoy playing card games, board games, and video games. I enjoy drawing, and I spend a lot of time at school. The Talisman Players. I usually go there to act. They're like a separate family to me. Well, theater's always been a big part of my life, so a lot of my experiences with my life has been in my theater, but I do believe probably the biggest experience I've had that taught me an important lesson would probably be just to be myself, no matter exactly what, and you'll always find the character is a part of you somewhere. Only in Oliver was there a lot of kids in the shows. Ever since the very first play I was in, Fiddler on the Roof, there's mostly been adults. So at first it was a little bit awkward, just there being a lot of older people that I didn't know in the room, but as theater went on, I became a lot more comfortable and open to meeting a lot of new people.
I remember being a little girl and admiring all these people that I thought were giants. You know, I thought they were so tall and so big. And, you know, I come to look back now and realize they were like 18-year-olds. And, you know, and I just thought they were like the greatest things. You know, they were professional actors doing what they loved. And I just remember admiring what they were doing so much at such an early age.
I think that theater really helped me grow my self-esteem, my confidence. And it's taught me that I can be friends with any person of any kind of age, since theater is such a wide community of different kinds of people. It's really nice to get to know them all. I probably would encourage a lot of people to try theater at least, since it helps a lot of people break out of their shell, bring their self-confidence up, or anything in between. I don't know.
Theater in general has so many crazy benefits to it. I know from my personal experience and some of the research I've done, being involved in theater from an early age gets kids out of their comfort zones. It gets them comfortable with public speaking. It gets them comfortable with themselves and finding some kind of confidence, so that they're able to put themselves out there and they're willing to take risks, which is something that's really important. So my name is Abby Greco. I'm a senior at Kutztown University, and a little bit about myself. I am an elementary education major. I have a minor in performance and storytelling, which I always tell people was my excuse to take theater classes in college. I've been doing theater since I was 3rd grade. It's just something I've always loved to do. My capstone project is a requirement that I have to do to graduate the Kutztown Honors Program with the honors distinction. Essentially, it's an interdisciplinary project in which I get to research whatever I want. I decided from very early on in the process that I wanted to do something based on theater because I love theater so much, but I wanted to connect it to my major and my other biggest passion, which is education and children. So what I'm doing is I am adapting children's literature into Reader's Theater scripts. So Reader's Theater is a literary strategy in which essentially people read scripts or books out loud. In the classroom, it is used for mainly reading fluency to help with word prosody, but it can also be used for comprehension and other very important skills. So this is 'Twas the Night Before Thanksgiving, which is a super cute book by Dave Pilkey. It's essentially the night before Christmas, but Thanksgiving style. And this is a really, really cute one for kids to read out loud because there's a bunch of like jokes that they might not necessarily understand, but their parents will, which is another part of Reader's Theater, which is really cool. It's really cool, and having the kids actually act out what's going on is so much fun. I actually did this in a class last week, but I don't know, having the kids like cough and actually interact with the book was great. I 100% would encourage other people to do theater. Even just personally, I want to teach theater. The reason I'm doing this whole capstone project on theater is because
kind of selfishly, I want my students to get involved in theater. I want to create that love of the arts, of performing from really early on, because I do think that the skills that you get from it are so incredibly important. You get social skills, you get personal skills, like it's just crazy. Even just like the movement of it, like you're getting so much physically from doing theater that I think it's so important, and everyone can learn something from it, whether you're in kindergarten or you're 85. It doesn't really matter.
So my experience with ACT feels like a long one. I joined the club when I was a freshman, and I was too nervous to audition for Spring Awakening, which was the musical that year, but I really wanted to be involved because I hated school at that point and didn't have any friends. So I ended up joining crew for that show, and I was the prop master or whatever they called it. Like, I was in charge of the props, and that was awesome, and I met some of my best friends there, and then ever since then, ACT has just been this journey that has been crazy and wonderful.
That there are any stereotypes about theater that are true and untrue? I mean, yes. There is a stereotype that theater people could be difficult.
People always try to get in my shots.
I think that there are a lot of truths to the stereotypes that are involved.
Stage crew kids as like crazy, not crazy, as stereotypical as it seems, which is this question, stereotypes, woo. Stage crew kids are very like out there.
Tech kids are definitely always weird. We're always the number one weirdos. I don't care what anybody says. And if you're a tech kid and you're sad about it, you should wear it proudly.
Yeah, good job doing that. The score cut out.
Actors tend to be a little annoying and a little bit loud.
I'm giving an interview right now and you're so loud!
Actors are very much like, I don't know, dramatic.
Just go. I'll pay for you. Really? Yeah, but you can get one thing. Oh my god.
Honestly, let me wear my hat. I'm honestly fed up. No, go.
I stay in theater because it's just a big community, and for that reason, to be dramatic whenever I want to be.
I mean, we can be. Let's be honest. I think it's because we're perfectionists. I think it's because we are really passionate about art. We're artists, and artists tend to be sort of freewheeling and, you know, have a lot of emotion. So if we're going with that stereotype that we're a little difficult, okay, I'll go with the fact I could be difficult.
Some stereotypes that I've noticed that people seem like, especially in high school, would be that theater kids are kind of like artsy little weirdos.
Whatever, that's Billie Eilish.
Which, is that true? I'm not gonna say yes, but I think everyone's a little bit of a weirdo, but I think theater kids are just like their own like breed, and like they all just like kind of congregate together, and they're like, these are my people.
Festivities. There's the president right there, Corinne. What you writing there?
Compliments.
For who?
All my friends, because I love them and they're talented.
ACT is the only theater club on campus. We're completely student run. Today is the holiday open mic night, so it's one of 3 that we have per semester. And you can go up, you can sing, you can recite a poem, you can act, you can do whatever you want. And it's just so fun.
I don't mean on the phone, Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight.
I am Callie Heath, and I am a senior, and this is my 4th year in ACT. This club is completely like a family to me. It's a huge community. It's awesome because there's open mic nights and meetings, but there's also shows you can be a part of and families you can be a part of. And something that was really awesome to me is that I got introduced to an ACT family, and it immediately was just a game changer for, I don't know what I'm saying. Where should I go from?
How long have I been in ACT? 4 months?
How long have I been in ACT? A year and a half. Oh my gosh, I have made my lifelong friends here, even in this short time. I get to continue doing what I love with the people that I love while still pursuing my education. So yeah, words cannot describe what this club means to me.
Theater! And Michaela.
Theater.
Yeah, we do love Michaela too.
Okay, interview me.
All right, let's go.
Callie, don't leave without me. I'm getting interviewed now. It's my turn. My name's Megan. I've been in ACT 4 years. I'd say ACT is home. I think theater, wherever theater is, it's home for me, and ACT has been that place that I've done it all through college. So I like that everything's so light-hearted most of the time, and I feel like we need that in theater because theater can be stressful sometimes. So just to have people who care about you around is really important for me.
Okay. And then could you tell?
I think at the end of the day, the biggest lesson that I've learned is that if you find a company, whether it's at college or in high school or in the community that you end up building your life in, if you really find a true community, a theater community, then you have a place to call home for the rest of your life, which is something that I'm realizing as I get older, lots of people don't have. And it's important for you to feel stable and loved and supported by a group of people. And when they happen to be people who are not blood relations to you, it seems like it's even more special. So I think that's it for me. Community is what theater is all about.